You've followed every instruction. Each morning, you take your blood pressure pill, same time, same dose, just like your doctor told you. You've made the changes, too less salt in your meals, more walks in the afternoon, and fewer stressful conversations late at night. But still, the numbers keep creeping up. Some mornings, your heart races for no clear reason. Other days, you feel dizzy just getting out of bed. And even though you're doing everything right, deep down, something doesn't feel right anymore. You start to wonder, is the medicine still working? If that question has crossed your mind lately, I want you to hear this: you're not alone. And note, this isn't all in your head. After 60, the body starts to shift in quiet but powerful ways. The liver processes medication more slowly. The kidneys don't filter quite as well. Your blood vessels respond differently. Your nervous system becomes more sensitive. And the same medication that once kept everything under control may now feel like it's barely making a difference. But there's good news. You're not stuck. And this isn't the end of the road. Because while medication can still play a role, there are natural ways, gentle, proven, and surprisingly simple, that can help your blood pressure come down and stay steady without relying on stronger pills. In this video, I'll share 5 science-backed habits that support healthy blood pressure after 60. They don't require expensive supplements or dramatic lifestyle changes, just a few small shifts that respect how your body works now, not how it used to. And the fourth one, it takes just 10 minutes in the morning, but it's helped many seniors feel more grounded, more balanced, and more in control without adding a single pill. So if you've been searching for answers, if you felt frustrated, confused, or stuck, this is your moment, because understanding why your medication isn't working anymore is the first step to finally feeling better. Let's begin with the truth that rarely gets talked about: why most blood pressure pills fail after 60. Why blood pressure pills often fail after 60. When you first started taking your blood pressure pills, things seemed to fall into place. The numbers dropped, the readings looked stable, there was a quiet sense of relief, maybe even a little hope that this small pill could keep everything under control. But as time went on, something began to shift slowly, quietly, and without warning. You followed the same routine, took the same dose, and yet the numbers began to creep back up. You felt tired more often. Dizzy spells came and went. Your heart would flutter on days it used to feel steady. And each time you checked your blood pressure, a quiet worry stirred inside you. Why isn't this working anymore? The truth is, after the age of 60, your body no longer responds to medication the same way it did in your younger years. The organs that help process those pills, your liver and kidneys, are no longer operating at full strength. The liver, which breaks down chemicals, starts to slow down. The kidneys, which filter your blood, become less efficient. And when these two systems are not working in harmony, the medicine you take may linger in your body too long, or sometimes not long enough to be effective. It's a bit like pouring the same amount of water into a pipe that's slowly becoming clogged. The flow is restricted, the pressure builds, and no matter how clean the water is, the system just isn't moving like it used to. And it's not just about one pill. Most people over 60 are taking multiple medications, sometimes 5, 6, even more each day. And while each one might have a purpose on its own, together at home, they can start to clash. Some medications block or weaken the effects of others. Some can increase side effects like fatigue, swelling, or dizziness. And slowly it becomes difficult to tell what's helping and what's quietly hurting you. Worse still, many symptoms that we blame on high blood pressure, like lightheadedness, brain fog, or irregular heartbeat, can sometimes be side effects of the very pills we take to treat it. And when those symptoms appear, doctors often respond by prescribing even more medication. Instead of asking the most important question, Is your body still responding to this treatment the way it once did? Over time, this pattern turns into a cycle. More pills, more confusion, less clarity, and less control over your own health. But here's the good news: that cycle can be broken. Because once you understand how aging changes the way your body handles medication, you can begin to support it in ways that are more natural, more balanced, and far more sustainable. And it all begins with something your body already knows how to make, but may not be making enough of anymore. Let's talk about nitric oxide and why it could be the missing link in your blood pressure journey. Natural Fix 1. Boost nitric oxide naturally. One of the most important things your blood vessels need as you age is space. Space to open, space to relax, space to let blood move through without forcing the heart to work harder than it should. But after 60, that natural ability to open up, called vasodilation, begins to weaken. And the reason often comes down to one quiet, invisible chemical: nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is like the messenger. It tells your blood vessels when to widen so that blood can flow easily. When you have enough of it, your arteries stay flexible, your heart doesn't have to push as hard, and your blood pressure stays in a calmer, safer range. But the problem is, after 60, your body just doesn't make as much nitric oxide as it used to. Years of stress, poor diet, and simple aging slow down the enzymes that produce it. And without that signal to relax, your vessels begin to stiffen, narrow, and resist the flow of blood, just like a garden hose that's slowly getting kinked shut. Fortunately, your body can still make nitric oxide. It just needs the right ingredients. And one of the most powerful sources is food. Natural nitrates found in vegetables like spinach, arugula, beets, celery, and romaine lettuce are converted into nitric oxide once inside your body. It's a gentle, natural process. And when you support it daily, your blood vessels begin to feel young again. In fact, a study published in Hypertension, a journal of the American Heart Association, showed that older adults who drank just 1 cup of beetroot juice a day lowered their systolic blood pressure by up to 10 milliliters within hours. No drugs, no side effects, just food doing what food was always meant to do: support life. So how do you start? Try blending a small beet into your morning smoothie. Add a handful of spinach to your eggs, or toss arugula into your lunch. If you prefer juice, go with 100% beetroot unsweetened and rich in natural nitrates. And if all of that feels like too much at once, just start small. Even 1 serving a day can make a difference over time. Think of it like gently opening a stuck window. Each day, with each bite, you're helping your blood vessels breathe again, restoring that ease, that flow, that quiet strength your heart has been waiting for. And now that your arteries are learning how to relax again, it's time to make sure what's flowing inside them is just as balanced. Natural Fix 2. Restore electrolyte balance. Your heart is more than just a pump. It's part of an intricate electrical system, one that depends on the right minerals to keep every beat strong, steady, and in rhythm. These minerals are called electrolytes. You've heard their names before: potassium, magnesium, calcium, sodium. But what most people don't realize is how easily that balance is thrown off as we age, and how deeply it affects blood pressure. When electrolytes are in harmony, the nerves that tell your heart when to beat and your blood vessels when to tighten or relax fire with perfect timing. It's like a well-wired house. Every switch works. Every light turns on when needed. But when you're low in even one key mineral like potassium or magnesium, that electrical system begins to misfire. Suddenly, your blood vessels don't respond as smoothly, your heart may beat faster than it should, and your blood pressure, even with medication, starts to jump around without warning. Low potassium, in particular, is a silent troublemaker. It allows sodium to build up in your body, causing your blood to hold more fluid, raising pressure inside the vessels. Magnesium, meanwhile, helps relax blood vessels and regulate heartbeat. Without enough of it, even small stresses can cause spikes in pressure or that feeling of sudden dizziness when standing up. A major review published in the British Medical Journal found that increasing potassium intake significantly lowered blood pressure in people with hypertension, especially when their sodium intake was high. It's like fixing the wiring inside your walls. The current flows better, and every part of the system runs more efficiently. So how do you restore that balance? Start by adding potassium-rich foods to your meals. Bananas, avocados, sweet potatoes, cooked spinach, and beans are all excellent choices. For magnesium, look to pumpkin seeds, almonds, dark leafy greens, and even a small square of dark chocolate. And don't forget, water hydration helps electrolytes move properly through the body, like electricity along clean wires. If your doctor allows, consider asking for a blood test to check your potassium and magnesium levels. Sometimes the problem isn't what you're doing wrong, it's simply what's missing. And once those minerals are back in balance, you may be surprised at how much calmer, clearer, and more stable your blood pressure begins to feel. Now that we've restored the flow and tuned the wiring, it's time to care for the engine itself, your heart and blood vessels, by giving them the right kind of fuel. Natural Fix 3 supported blood flow with omega-3s. Every day, your heart sends blood through nearly 60,000 miles of blood vessels, an invisible highway that keeps every cell in your body alive. And just like any road system, when the pathways are clear and flexible, everything flows more easily. But when those blood vessels become stiff or inflamed, the journey becomes harder. Your heart has to push harder. The walls of the arteries resist, and blood pressure begins to climb, slowly but steadily. One of the simplest, most effective ways to protect those vessels is by feeding them the right kind of fat, and that fat comes from omega-3s. Omega-3 fatty acids are found in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, as well as in flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. These healthy fats help reduce inflammation inside the arteries, improve the smoothness of blood flow, and support the flexibility of vessel walls so the heart doesn't have to fight against constant resistance. You can think of omega-3s like engine oil. In an older car, the right oil reduces friction, keeps things running quietly, and prevents wear and tear from building up inside the system. Without it, everything runs hotter, louder, and more likely to break down. A meta-analysis published in the Annals of Internal Medicine found that people who consumed 2 to 3 grams of omega-3s per day saw a reduction in systolic blood pressure by up to 5 mHg. That's the kind of difference doctors look for when prescribing new medications, but here, it's coming from what's on your plate. So how do you begin? Aim to eat fatty fish at least twice a week, grilled or baked salmon, a can of sardines with olive oil, or even mackerel on toast. If you don't eat fish, consider flaxseed oil or chia pudding as plant-based options. And if those aren't possible, talk to your doctor about a high-quality omega-3 supplement, especially one rich in EPA and DHA. With consistent intake, many people notice not just lower blood pressure, but steadier energy, clearer thinking, and even fewer aches and pains. Because when your blood flows smoothly, everything else starts to feel a little smoother too. Now that the vessels are flowing freely and inflammation is down, let's turn our attention to something even more powerful than medicine: rest. Natural Fix 4 improves sleep quality. Sleep is not just rest. For your heart, it's repair. It's the quiet moment when pressure drops, muscles relax, and your entire cardiovascular system finally gets to exhale. But as we age, sleep often becomes harder to hold on to. You might fall asleep quickly, only to wake up at 2 a.m., eyes wide open, or you may toss and turn for hours. never sinking into that deep, restorative state your body truly needs. And when sleep is broken, so is your blood pressure. You see, during deep sleep, the body naturally lowers blood pressure by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for healing and calming. It slows the heart, relaxes the vessels, and allows the system to reset. But when you don't reach that stage, or don't stay there long enough, your pressure never fully drops. Instead, it stays elevated, night after night, like an engine that never gets turned off. Imagine a house where the lights stay on 24 hours a day. The system wasn't built for that. The wires get hot, the circuits wear down, and sooner or later, something starts to fail. A large study published in Sleep found that older adults who slept less than 6 hours per night had significantly higher blood pressure and a greater risk of stroke compared to those who slept 7 to 8 hours. The difference wasn't small, it was life-changing. And it makes sense. Sleep is when hormones like cortisol, which raise blood pressure, are supposed to fall. It's when inflammation eases, muscles loosen, and blood vessels stretch them out again, like roads being repaved while the city sleeps. So how do you improve your sleep, especially after 60 wins? First, set a wind-down routine. Turn off bright lights at least an hour before bed. Avoid screens, TV, phone, tablet, because the blue light tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. Try a warm shower, some gentle stretching, or reading something calming, and go to bed at the same time every night, even weekends. Consistency teaches the body to trust the rhythm again, like tuning a clock that's been ticking off beat. If you wake up often, try keeping your bedroom slightly cooler or using a white noise machine. And don't forget magnesium. Many older adults are deficient, and it plays a key role in relaxing both muscles and the nervous system. Because when sleep returns, pressure softens, and when you sleep better, your heart finally gets the rest it's been asking for. Now that the body has learned how to relax, how to flow, and how to restore itself each night, there's just one more force we need to quiet the one that lives in your mind. Natural Fix 5: Lower chronic stress. Not all pressure comes from inside your blood vessels. Some of it builds quietly in your thoughts. And over time, that kind of pressure can be just as damaging. Chronic stress, whether from finances, loneliness, family tension, or simply the weight of getting older, activates the body's alarm system. And when that system stays on for too long, it becomes like a smoke alarm that won't stop ringing, even when there's no fire. Your body was built to handle short bursts of stress, a raised heart rate, a quick hit of adrenaline, but it was never meant to live in that state every day. When stress becomes constant, your adrenal glands keep pumping out cortisol and adrenaline hormones that tighten blood vessels, raise blood pressure, and keep your heart on edge. It's like holding your breath for hours at a time. Eventually, the body starts to break down, not because of the stress itself, but because it was never given permission to relax. And the effects show up everywhere. Poor sleep, chest tightness, headaches, fatigue, and yes, blood pressure that won't come down, even when everything else seems in place. But here's the thing, you don't have to remove all stress from your life to feel better. You simply need to give your nervous system more moments of safety, signals that say, you're okay now, you can rest. That's where practices like deep breathing, journaling, slow walks, prayer, or even quiet time in nature come in. These aren't luxuries, they're medicine. In a randomized study at Harvard, adults with high blood pressure who practiced deep relaxation techniques for just 20 minutes a day lowered their systolic pressure by nearly 5 mmHg. That's comparable to what many pills promise, but with no side effects, no pharmacy visits, and no risk of interactions. You can start with something as simple as this. Sit down, close your eyes, And breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Breathe out for 6. Repeat that for 5 minutes. Do it again after lunch. And once more before bed. These gentle signals help shift your nervous system out of fight or flight and back into rest and repair. You can also try writing your thoughts at night, letting worries leave your mind and settle onto paper. Or take a slow walk without headphones. Let your feet find their rhythm. Let your breath follow. And let the noise of life fall away for just a while. Because in the end, the strongest medicine for the heart is peace. And now that your blood vessels are relaxed, your nutrients balanced, your sleep restored, and your nervous system calmer, let's take a moment to bring it all together. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you. Because choosing to understand your body, truly understand it, is one of the most powerful things you can do for your health, especially after 60, especially when things feel uncertain. Today, we talked about 5 natural ways to support your blood pressure, not as replacements for your medication, but as gentle allies. Habits that help your heart work less, that give your vessels room to breathe, that let your body feel safe enough to heal again. We opened up space inside your arteries with nitric oxide. We balanced your minerals to restore the signals that guide each heartbeat. We supported your vessels with omega-3s, soothed your system with deeper sleep, and finally, we gave your nervous system permission to let go of the weight it's carried for far too long. None of these fixes require perfection. You don't need to do all 5 at once. Just pick one. Start small, stay curious, and remember, change doesn't come overnight. But your body is always listening. It wants to feel better. It wants to help you live longer. If this video gave you something useful, a new idea, a bit of hope, or even just a feeling of being understood, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me which fix you are going to try first. And if you'd like more videos like this, where we go deeper, not just into the science, but into what aging really feels like, subscribe, so we can keep learning together. You deserve a body that feels steady, a heart that feels light, and a life that still feels open and full. Let's take care of it gently every day.